Erica Moroyce, we back.
We back. How's it going, Nate?
Episode 3. It's going. I think we're both a little tired. I'm a little sick. I got a bit of a cough.
You got to get better.
Yeah, got to get better because next week I'm with you at HDI.
Indeed. I am counting down the days. I've got to start packing, but I'm also excited for the episode we have coming up after this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we had a fascinating conversation in CX Accelerator recently around the mistakes that CX professionals make. So can't wait to dive into that. Before we do, though, Erica, I've got a bit of a CX rant for you. I was in my hometown of Nashville here for SWPP, Society of Workforce Planning Professionals, possibly the best and nerdiest show in our space. I absolutely adore our wonderfully dedicated WFM professionals. And it's been a great show, but there has been a question circulating about the attendees that's driving me a bit bonkers, Erica. And it's people that are asking the question, how do I run out and automate my customer service? And it's just got me feeling like that's the wrong question. It's like, yeah, of course there's elements of this that we need to automate. Make quick parts quick. But I mean, that's not the goal. Like the goal and the question should be, how do we elevate these experiences? How do we actually make them better for our customers using the new capabilities that we have? And it's just such a race to the bottom, the way that many of these folks are thinking about how can we just strip the soul out of this and just go immediately to the bottom line efficiency play. And it just feels so wrong to me, Erica.
Nate, I am feeling that same pain point right now. I don't know what it is, but this week I've just been feeling a little bit of AI automation fatigue. It's
Yeah.
everywhere, right? Every event that I've been to this year, we're so focused on what can we move to automation, and it just feels like we don't even have the fundamentals down yet, and we're just rushing to put a band-aid on a leaking pipe
Wow.
thinking
Good
that's going to
metaphor.
solve the problem. And I think the pressure is coming from leadership that has unfortunately become so far removed from what the reality is for those on the front line, but also for those managing the front line. So I'm glad you brought it up. Get back on your soapbox.
No, I mean, I'm not like against AI. I'm just saying like we got to make the experience better using the new capability, and people aren't thinking that way. It's just this race to like how quickly can we just strip the soul out of the interaction with the customer? It's like, no, like I don't think that's what customers want. And I hope, I mean, the only wake up call that can happen, Erica, it's not going to come from the CFO who's, having a field day right now with saving all this money. It's got to come from the customer in terms of this isn't what I asked for. Like, yeah, I want you to save me time. I want to be easy to do business with you. I want those things. But like, I also want to know you and I want to have a relationship with you. And I want you to guide me to where I'm actually trying to go in terms of achieving my objectives. Help me as a human being to do that. And we've got something where it's worth me being loyal to you.
Mm. So are you saying we as customers need to take a stand? Are you
Yes.
starting a movement here and now?
Yeah. I mean, it's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt the brands that are giving away the best of themselves in terms of strategic customer service. I don't want it. It doesn't matter to customers. We don't need to do that. And if they're right, then they're right. But like if we are very vocal in terms of here's who I'm awarding my loyalty to, my energy, my money, my resources, and here's why, then something could happen out of that.
Yeah, money talks, right? Well, what do you think as CX professionals we can be doing about this?
Yeah, I mean, let's be good customers. Let's talk about the brands that are doing this well and that are elevating the experiences using wonderful automation capability and wonderful people. Like let's tell those stories often and loudly. And then also like as CX leaders, like we have to guard the brand from itself. and point out how the race to the bottom in terms of just making our customer service completely vanilla, like every other company in the world right now who's using the same automation engines, that's not the path to sustainable growth. And we've gotta create the argument for that.
Mm,
Or who is going to?
mm.
Oh,
Preach,
I don't know.
Nate.
These are the thoughts. These are the thoughts. But
Nate,
and maybe down the road, that could be a mistake that CX professionals make. Um, but right now, it's just a conversation. I think, Jeremy, you were about to input something in there?
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, maybe part of what we need to be doing is recognizing, like, the push from the CFO or whomever it is, and it's not a full rejection of that.
Mm,
It's taking and saying, like, okay, there are pieces of what you're trying to accomplish that do make sense, but let's make sure we do it the right way. So it's not like we're not going to do that. Like, okay, no, I'll take that edict. But I want to make sure that the way that we execute is a way that's effective, that does support and not have a negative impact on the brand and that sort of thing. That it's solving real problems, it's supporting our teams, our customers. But I just think we need to be a little bit careful on this one. Like
yeah.
there's a lot of opportunity here, and if we push back too hard, we're not going to be in the position to support and protect the brand because they'll find somebody else that will do it.
Mm.
Well said. Smart man. By the way, Jeremy Hyde, everyone. Welcome to the show, Jeremy Hyde.
Yes, thanks for
Thanks for
being here,
having me,
Jeremy.
buddy. Hey, good
And
to see
I
you
am
guys.
so excited by your original CX Accelerator quarter zip jacket.
Yes, that's right.
Mm.
I'm on brand, buddy.
Dude, that's some 2019 merch that nobody can get their hands on. I don't have that jacket, and it's awesome.
It's
I don't have one of
vintage.
those either.
Erica's like, when did we run those?" I don't remember. That's awesome. Well, Jeremy, you do so much in this space, man. I mean, you are a practitioner of an airline and as a contact center leader. You are a community builder through the Work from Home Alliance and the leader of that organization. You've been a long time CX Accelerator advocate and leader. So first of all, just very grateful for you and your voice in the space. We appreciate you, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for being here, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Why don't we dive in, Nate?
Let's do it.
Should we
Yeah,
do
I mean,
it?
Erica, you had a great answer to this question of the mistakes that CX professionals make. I mean, what was your response to this?
Yeah, my kind of take is that we don't do a good enough job of making allies internally. We get so stuck in our silo of doing our CX work. And then we feel a little bit frustrated or even sometimes defensive when other people don't get it. But we're not taking the time to show the value that we're bringing and also get to know what pain points we can be helping to solve from other team members. And I think you really need that internal alignment if you're going to A, protect your role as a CX leader in this time, but B, drive impact on behalf of the customer. So that's my 2 cents. But what I really loved about this discussion thread was the variety of perspectives that were coming in, right? So we had some people who were agreeing, like, yeah, you need to build those internal relationships and get those key
Yeah.
stakeholders aligned. But there was a lot of talk too about metrics. Some people felt we over focused on the wrong things, or
Yeah.
we put so much
Agreed.
focus on the metrics that we're ignoring the humans behind them.
And the wrong metrics.
Yes, yes. Yeah, are we even measuring the right things? And
No.
what behaviors are we driving as a result of the things that we're measuring, right? There were other statements where people felt like we're automating for the sake of automating. So you teed that up perfectly, Nate. But what I'm really excited about today is that we're bringing this Slack thread to life
Yes.
in the flesh, and we've got three folks that chimed in with their own smart perspectives and takeaways to this question. So I want to thank Jeremy, Schmel, and Caitlin for being here with us today. We appreciate
Hey,
you
friends.
weighing in on Slack, but we appreciate you taking the time to chat about this just a little bit more. So Jeremy, I want to start with you since you've already introduced yourself. I know in the Slack thread, one of the things that you highlighted was the struggle that CX pros tend to face when they're measuring their impact. So, I want to know why you think this is such a persistent challenge.
yeah. I mean, the short of it is, I think that as an industry, we do a poor job of proving the business case of our work or the work that we want to get prioritized. When you hear people talk about CX, often you hear them say things like, well, according to this study, the money will come basically. As long as you make people happy, they're going to spend more money with you. But there's no hard dollars. There's no like we're going to take this action and as a result we're going to increase revenue or we're going to reduce churn or we're going to reduce cost. And so you go and you get in front of the C-suite or the CFO and they're just like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, hey, we want to spend a bunch of money. They're like, okay, what are we going to get back? Well,
What do you
people are
mean?
going to be happy. We're going to get
Smiles.
happiness.
You get smiles, Jeremy.
Exactly. I I've been thinking about this a little bit. Maybe other areas do this and I just am not as exposed to it. I don't know though. We seem to approach CX as some like morality, like there's right and wrong, there's moral and immoral. And if you do this thing, you are immoral. If you do it this way, the way that we've decided it should be done, you're moral. And I don't have to prove anything else to you. I don't have to prove ROI. You're just a bad person if you don't want this certain customer experience. And I think this is where, honestly, sometimes one, I don't call myself a CX professional. And two, people may think that like I'm a bad CX professional or a bad contact center because I kind of buck that a little bit. I'm like, look, guys, we're running a business here. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we should be passionate about our work and we should try and do things for the customers, but we can't just show up with hugs and morality. That's not going to cut it.
Woo!
Way to drop the mic
I
there,
feel like I
Jeremy.
need to pick on Stacy Sherman a little bit for doing cxright.com. Stacy, we love you, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a great point. I mean, wow, what's doing it right, in whose lens? What what does that mean? It's super interesting for me.
Work for a low cost carrier, right? I'm not the legacy carriers that have TVs in the back of their seats and this and that and the other thing. And that alone from some people would say that's bad. We're serving a particular market, right? People that may not otherwise be able to travel can travel because of airlines like us. It is low frills, sure. I will say we position ourselves somewhere in between the low cost folks that are, late night comedy and the legacy folks. So like we try to
Yeah.
be low cost but premium low cost. But again, a lot of people would say like, "Oh, that's bad CX, that's bad this and that's bad." I'll tell you what, my business says otherwise.
Yep. You set an expectation and you deliver on the
Exactly.
expectation.
Yeah.
By the way, your airline is great, and I've recently flown it, and it was a wonderful experience, and it was exactly as I expected it to be.
Mhm.
So
Thank you.
well done on setting the right expectation.
Thank you.
It's good. No, I mean, so many interesting things we could draw out from that, Jeremy. Love it. Let's get a couple reactions from Jeremy. So we got Caitlin and Shmuel on. What do the two of you think about what Jeremy just said?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to think about here, right? Like there's so much that to think about when we're talking about CX and what, mistakes that we can make. And I like what Jeremy is saying about you really need to get it right. And I've seen so many times where we look at data and analysis and we're like, oh, this is it, right? Or we dump a bunch of feedback into ChatGPT and it looks, oh, this is the answer. Um, and it's just not. You gotta know you gotta really know and understand what's happening on the front lines and on the ground floor. And I think what we spend a lot of time on is we think about vision, right? And we think about what feeling our customers want.
Yeah.
And we think this process or this new policy is really going to move the needle. And it might, but we spend all of our time on the drafting and not on the operations. And how is this going to impact the people on the front lines who, by the way, have probably the most impact on your customer's experience? And we forgot about them. And we're like, oh well, I mean, we've declared that this is what we're going to do, and it's just going to happen, right? And we don't think about how are our people going to adapt to this change that we really believe in, and not how they're going to adapt to it on their easiest call, but on their
Yeah.
toughest call.
Mhm.
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, when the tough calls, right? Those can make or break you, and if we're not supporting our people and we're not supporting that rollout and we don't understand what's really happening in
Yeah.
our business, then our data is going to be lying to you.
Woo, preach. Isn't it so wild how often we kind of take the front line out of the equation when we're thinking through all these decisions when they are the
Yeah,
face of the brand?
Yeah.
I I tell this to my team all the time. Like, you guys are the ones, our first line, right? You're the front lines. You're the ones dealing with our customers. You have the most impact on what our customers are feeling. And you guys have so much opportunity, and like, I try to like build them up in that way and empower them of like, how it is, like, you're dealing with call after call, case after case, and it's just, it can really get to you. And as we talk all about like, oh, AI is going to take the easy stuff, and think about what, right, Jen, we were talking about what's going to be left.
Yeah.
um and it's going to be hard, and we as leaders need to remember that for our people,
Yeah.
and we have to continue to empower them, and realize what real impact they play in our business.
Cognitive load is a very real thing. I love that you're bringing that up. And that was a major theme at SWPP. So I'm out here advocating is like you need to make your people an effective and proactive guide. They
Yeah.
have to know the customer journey inside and out. They got to know where the customer is in context. They got to know what that journey looks like and what obstacles that people are going to face. They got to be an SME on the path. And then they got to know that customer so deeply and intimately that they know what definition of success they're looking to achieve. But then these contact center people have no margin at all. They're back to back to back interaction and they're burning out. They're not getting smarter in the interactions. They're just holding on for dear life. They're just surviving. So like my big call to action to the WFM leaders in the room, it's like you have to develop some margin for intelligence within your people and let them grow and let them learn and let them breathe, or else you are putting yourself into a corner.
I agree, but I feel like it means
Agreed.
we kind of have to tip everything on its head. It feels like we're at an inflection point, and Jeremy, you posted about this on LinkedIn yesterday, I saw. Do we need to rethink the entire way that we've structured work? Is that what AI is gonna force us to do? Maybe that's a bright spot. I don't know if the 8-hour workday even makes sense long term anymore.
Right. Yeah. Or some sort of like reskilling and retasking so that, I mean, like, I agree with everything you just said, Nate. At the same time, I think it would be difficult to say, like, hey, we're just going to hire more people so they can do less work at a higher expense. And I know that's not what you were saying, but if you follow the thread the wrong way, that's where you could end up.
Gotcha.
But instead, if you take and say like, all right, here's all the things, all the tasks, and all of the work that needs to be done, and currently this group does this thing, and this group does this thing, and this group they talk to the customer live. We might need to start connecting these 3 or 4 or 5 different sorts of things to say like, hey, you're going to talk to the customer live for a period of time, then you're going to not, but you're going to still do something that is bringing value to the business, but it gives you
Inter
that break from that cognitive load, because it is like, if you're just, even everything that you said about being the guide and being all of those things, that's amazing and also still very taxing, right?
Austin.
So as Eric was just saying, like, I can't imagine 8 hours of being a Sherpa to somebody, right? That's just like, that's a lot. So we have to figure out how to like break that up with things that still add value, so it's not just additional cost, but can break that mental load that they're carrying so heavy.
Wow.
I agree
Love
with that.
that. And what a timely post. Way to call that out, Erica. That's awesome. Jeremy, would love for you to stick around. No pressure to do so. Let's go over to Caitlin. Caitlin, hello. First time on the show. Good to have you.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us a little
It's
bit
great to be
about
here.
you.
Yeah. Well, I'm in my fourth year of being a CX professional. I've
Yay.
dove right into the deep end, and it's been a whirlwind adventure. I absolutely love it. Um, in my background, I actually came from teaching and nonprofit operations, so I do bring a different lens. Though I fully realize lots of people in CX didn't, study CX, didn't take that
Yeah.
that 20-year journey from college onward. However, I think to what you were saying, Jeremy, and what you guys were saying about caring for the employee experience really resonates with the approach that I take. I do want to care about my team who's doing that frontline work, and developing them. So from my own teaching experience, that is heavily what I did. Day in and day out, I was teaching my, or I was, orchestrating my CX business unit, if you will, of 100 and something odd students, helping them get from point A to point B to the ultimate goal. But what I really find in the through line of my work is, Jeremy, what you were saying about how you guys are positioned to be a low cost airlines, but you've narrowed in on who your audience is and what service you want to provide. That's your end goal for your business. And so if you guys start from there and work backwards to understand how do we care for our customers and how do we give and deliver what they are looking for to create the impact of what they're coming to your business to get, then that informs, kind of in a backwards design way, how you execute what you do and how you equip your team to do what they can do, to understand the whole entire customer journey, but also know what point they're coming in to meet the customer at in that journey so that they can walk
Smart.
alongside them.
Mm, that's so smart,
Love
Caitlin.
it.
I would wager to bet that teachers make some of the best CX professionals because I love the way you reverse engineered that, almost like you're designing a curriculum. You're designing that experience and that journey. So smart.
The role of educator and cheerleader, these are critical elements of a good CX professional, in my opinion. And Caitlin, you've obviously got them. So, Caitlin, I loved your answer to the question of what mistakes are CX professionals making. Give us a bit of a summary of what you said there.
Yeah. So what I honed in on is creating like your ultimate end goal being the metrics, being the numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers matter. They tell a story. They tell you how you're doing, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is what are you delivering at the end of the day to your customers?
Yup.
Um, how are you adding value to their life? And so when you do work backwards from that point and you start to understand um, that kind of pathway that ends someone at that point in their journey, then you can start to pick out there's going to be lots of metrics. Honestly, there's going to be lots of data that you'll see, but you want to pick out not everything, just the ones that matter the most. The metrics that matter are the ones that are going to drive uh, to that goal of delivering value to your customer.
Ones that
So
represent real value through their through their lens. That it's an outcome where you're getting the customer to a different destination that represents value to you.
yes.
Do you have an example, Caitlin, of one that you have identified that's been helpful for you?
Um, recently, we adopted a new software, so I've been digging into all of the new dashboards and bells and whistles, and it's been so fun. But one that matters to me is, well, occupancy rate is um,
Sure.
a huge metric that we use. But when I look at like what is industry standard of an occupancy rate, what is ideal, and I look at our occupancy rate, there's a huge gap. But that
Sure.
gap shouldn't tell me like that's bad. It should tell me like what am I missing or what story is this piece of data telling me? And for us, that matters because our team is handling a lot of tough conversations, can be emotionally elevated conversations in the space we work in. And so having downtime is actually critical to extending the life and the reducing the burnout of my team members. So that's okay. As we keep going and measuring what that number looks like, then it is definitely going to be helpful to understand what that metric should be, and then
Yeah.
go from there.
Good. That's a good EX metric that's going to tie to CX, and you're going to see that connection grow over time significantly. So that's great that you're already finding that and that you're working to protect your people and their cognitive load. Love to hear that.
Nate, I think that's something we touched on also in one of the chats about the metrics that need to change and that are gonna have to change. Right? We talk a lot about handle time, right? Now you have to change your mindset of what handle time is going to look like
Yeah.
because it's not going to you don't want short handle time, right? It's just not going to be the reality anymore. Your handle time is going to go up, and if you haven't changed your mindset and your philosophy about it, then you're going to be driving the wrong behaviors. Right? So it's like again, measure what matters, because metrics drive behavior, but make sure you have the right outlook and viewpoint on it, because again, metrics matter and they drive behavior.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
It's
good.
interesting. I was actually thinking about handle time as Caitlin was talking, and through a slightly different lens than you were just saying, Shmuel. One of the things that I was thinking about is, and again, like the CX morality crew might come out and like tell me that I'm wrong for using handle time as an agent metric, because I do. But here's the thing, though, is having a handle time goal and some accountability at the agent level for me isn't about hurry up and get off the phone or get off the chat or whatever. That's not what it's about. What it is about, though, is like a quick, easy, efficient, effective experience. And if you take 20 minutes to help a customer on average, but everybody else takes 8 minutes, you're not giving a better experience. You might think that you are, but you're probably not actually. And so the reframe of like, what does it mean? And then even how do we have that conversation when you go and sit down with that agent? What you probably shouldn't say is, all right, Bob, you're at 20 and you need to be at 8. But instead, you've understood what is causing that gap. And you're saying, hey, I've noticed that here's the breakdown. And you can actually tie it to the customer and their experience rather than simply like you need to cut 7 minutes off or 4 minutes off. It's like, hey, you're getting up here, getting hung up here. I'm not sure the customer's understanding. It's that sort of thing. And so I love that framing though of like tying it to like what is the purpose, what is the goal, why does this metric exist, and then making sure that we're driving in that with that in mind and having conversations with that in mind versus just like hit the number, because it's not about the number, right?
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly, I agree with that too. Of yes, somebody who's taking 20 minutes, they may actually be giving them a terrible experience, right? Like, or people might be just be shooting the breeze, and it's like it's nice to connect, but you're not getting paid to talk about the weather, right? You're getting paid to help customers. So it's really about understanding what is really happening, and are you being the most efficient that you can be? And let me help you be better and be more efficient, empower you to do a better job and to give a better experience. So yeah, it is metrics obviously matter, right? And handle time matters, but it's what is driving that handle time, right? The behaviors behind it that matter more. And let me coach you and give you feedback and help set better expectations and accountability to say, how am I going to make you, move the needle, make you better?
yeah, I think it also requires us as leaders to kinda set the example of how we treat our metrics. Too often, they kind of become checkbox exercises, like, "Oh, are we hitting this
Mm,
metric or are we not?" And we fall into that black and white thinking trap, whereas it should be like a health check for us, right? It's not the destination or the end all be all, but it gives us clues on maybe the things that we need to focus more of our effort and energy on.
Yeah.
That's
For
on us to
sure.
What does
yeah.
this
reframe.
actually mean as we work to defend this wonderful promise that we're making, this experience that should matter greatly to the customers that we're serving? These metrics illuminate truth along that path, or they don't. And those are the conversations that need to be happening. I love what you're saying there, Shamil. I mean, I like using that phrase of quick parts quick, slow parts
Yeah,
inside of a customer
Yeah.
interaction. And that's taking the best of average handle time, which still matters. It represents we are serving the customer efficiently and effectively. We're guiding them to success in a way that we're not wasting their time,
exactly.
but also when we are having the quote unquote fluffier conversation, the time conversation, it matters. It's the type of conversation where we're educating or we're generating value in some way. We're not just trapping them on the phone to make them feel loved. We are
Right.
helping them to become the best version of themselves in the way that we're uniquely equipped to do as an
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and there, times where calls really need to be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? And
Yeah,
because there was a
great.
really difficult, complex issue, and awesome, right? You killed it.
Yep.
And the reverse is true, where it's like they're doing 4 minutes, amazing, and I'm like, no, right? They're rushing, they're not giving that experience. So it's, yeah, exactly. What's really happening, and are we really understanding the numbers and what's driving the numbers, and just helping our people be the best they can.
Good. All right, we're getting to the red zone. We need to land the plane, Jeremy. Let's get final thoughts on this or whatever topic that's on your mind. Jeremy, what else is on your mind?
I think that's kind of the big thing I'm beating the drum on right now, just around the kind of the mistakes and how we need to be showing up. And frankly, especially for like the next generation of leaders in this space, if you get in front of that C-suite for the first time with your hugs and your morality, like that's not going to go well. And I don't want to do that to that next generation. I want to prepare them in reality. And so I just think like we need to start adjusting some of the way that we're having these conversations as industry leaders, to be more realistic about what it all means and how we show up and how we get our work prioritized.
I like to think about CX leaders that are effective. They have levers to pull. And depending on the motivators that make the most sense and the audience that you have, so the heart lever is one to pull. When you're talking to frontline staff and you're trying to show the impact that their work is having, like those heart motivators do really matter.
Yes.
But you gotta have the other levers, business value, real measurable outcomes. And you gotta know which levers to pull, when and how, and to which degree. And I think about Brad Cleveland and how effective he is in terms of talking about these different motivational forces that are out there and being an effective storyteller to the point where you can show impact from a human standpoint and you can show impact from a business standpoint. Those things are not mutually exclusive. Shamil, take us home. What final thought here?
Yeah. So also again, this is really just what's on my mind a lot. As we think about how our industry is changing, as we change with it and adapt. And for me, what I really just put my full focus is on my people. Like I'm a people person. I connect. That's who I am. I'm a helper, and just trying to make sure we're staying focused, right? Like all the things we're talking about are important, and just making sure we're remembering our people. And what I try to remember is frustrated employees can't deliver good experiences. And if we don't think about our processes and what our front line is doing, we're going to pay for the change with the experience we were trying to protect.
Mm.
Moment of silence for that quote.
I know I was like, oh, got to drop a one-liner on Nate. So
Really good. Erica, what final thought on your mind here?
Gosh, I just love this conversation so much, and it's got me thinking about what we can be doing as a community at CX Accelerator, to Jeremy's point, to better equip that next generation so that we are
Yes.
having the right conversations and we are giving ourselves that seat at the table and positioning ourselves for the future, so that CX is a sustainable profession. It's up to us. So I'm fired up and I'm ready.
Agreed. Yeah, can't wait to get to hang with you this next week, Erica. We'll do some good brainstorming on that very thing, but we've got some good stuff happening through CX Accelerator right now with our local meetups. Allison Groves has just designed a digital cohort that we're going to be able to launch very soon for subject matter experts, that are in those roles, that are progressing, that aren't necessarily in traditional leadership roles, but still looking to make huge impact on their organizations. But yeah, talk to us. Let us know how we could be serving you as a CX professional. The goal of everything that we're doing through CX Accelerator is to grow and equip CX professionals on every stage of their career journey. So that's what we are about. So until next time, experiences matter, and so do the people who create them. We appreciate you all very much. See you on the next episode.